Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Wednesday the 23rd of March. Looking at the Eurodollar first on this daily picture and really looking to get clues of where we are in terms of direction going forward in the bigger picture rather than the obviously the short term, which in the intermediate term are obviously pointing downward. At the moment on this bigger picture, we have broken what was a trend line, including a spike there. In fact, if I ignore the spike and just run it from the lows, we're still, we take the absolute low there, ignore the spike in terms of the news price action that went on there, hit the other point. We're just sitting there, still on this sort of more bullish daily trend. However, we are sitting on the lower band. A break of this trend line really would to probably see us coming down towards the daily 21. So it's really on the cusp there. But as I said, intermediate time frames, we're now below the weekly pivot there properly, and we've had a close below that sort of area. We're now below that 50 MA. It really does look like there's potential for continuation of this move to the downside. Just looking to see if there's any other clues, because it's definitely bearish. From the intermediate sort of time frames, certainly with these lower highs, lower lows, it's looking bearish. From the very short-term time frame, there's a possibility we could get a bit of a bounce off this S1 pivot here, but I don't have really high hopes for it. It may just come back towards the 21 if we do, but really with the pattern that's going on at the moment, I'm erring more towards the bearish side of things. However, do realise that we're sitting on those lower bands. Bigger trend line may just support us there. We've got to watch this morning. Whoops. So that's where we are. Whoops. So we get back to where we were. Right, the pound dollar. Again, in fact, with the pound dollar, daily wise, it's certainly in the intermediate time frame, we're in this really sort of bearish mood. Sorry, I just changed the feed. Let's see, I had a gap on the other. We're certainly looking like, again, you can argue with daily the trend lines. If we pop it on there, we're still okay. We're still in a sort of effectively from a daily point of view, we're still bullish. Effectively, we haven't broken the trend line. It's still biased towards the bull side, still above its monthly pivot here. But as you look through from the intermediate sort of time frames, the lower time frames, certainly, we've broken the weekly pivot. So it's maybe putting in a bit of a divergence on the 4-hourly here, but looking weak. It's really a question of whether it's going to come back and test that monthly pivot, the S1, before it has a chance of really getting back towards that daily pivot. Any sort of support from where it's sitting at the moment, I'm finding it hard to really see support from where we're sitting at the moment. It's certainly not clear, but any sort of bounce and a break of this sort of the morning's or this trend line that's coming down here may see us pushing up towards the 21s. So at this stage, there's still a reasonable possibility of getting back up towards the daily pivot, but if we don't do that soon, we'll be so far away from it, there's a chance we won't get anywhere near it. Okay, dollar yen. Let's look at the bigger picture first. This really is across the board, this move to a degree, although the dollar yen's holding up a lot stronger. It's not moved back so far, it's just back now towards its daily 8 moving average. Effectively broken through so the intermediates again got the higher highs, higher lows running through it, just running pretty close to its 4-hourly 50 there now. May get some 60-minute 200 may get some sort of resistance around that point. Still hasn't caught its daily pivot below us, so any sell-off would give us a reasonable target at the moment. It may be it runs into that 200 and starts selling, but at the moment it's running pretty choppy. The temptation is to be playing for the upside, but I'd much rather see that daily pivot hit first. Okay, Aussie dollar. the range is tightened up. It's not sold off the same as the others. In fact, yesterday we ended up with a positive day. It's just holding up that bit better. Although a lot of miners now have had a downgrade in some of the stocks. So, well, it's probably bonds being bought then and holding the Aussie dollar up a little bit more. But certainly it's not given way so much as the European currencies here, and it's holding up relatively strong at the moment and still looking potentially good for bullishness. Let's just come back to that. Yep, still looking. I mean, even here you can only just. I mean, it's just turning around again. It's putting higher highs in. It's just maybe breaking the lows now, and this break of this daily pivot might see it come back and test yesterday's lows. There's quite a lot there for it to be chasing, and I keep talking about it getting back within its S3 monthly R3. There is the potential for it to come back and close within that by the end of the month, so that might be a target sort of area for it today. Certainly. Bigger picture though, holding up so much stronger than the other markets. And then the Canadian dollar. In fact, of course, I need to look at oil first, just catch a picture of what's going on with oil. Okay, oil's holding up pretty well really on the dailies here. It's still sitting at plus 40 and holding well. So what we're seeing with the Canadian dollar pushing here in terms of, you'd expect to continue strength or holding strength, which it isn't doing too bad on it from a daily perspective. It is erring towards this sort of, it's trying to put higher lows in, where it had earlier on put higher lows in. Sorry, just check my feed, it's better. Trying to push towards another higher low here. If it breaks the weekly pivot, maybe it could be on for the 50 EMA there. Let's have a look at the hourlies here. It was relatively clear in terms of these higher lows, etc. yesterday, up until sort of about just after midday when it gained some strength on the push of the oil price and a bit of a retrace on some of the markets there. But now it's, as I say, pushing back up. It's pretty much already into its daily R1 now. It's already hit the pivot daily R1. It isn't giving me a lot in the way of targets. Perhaps, as I say, if it does continue to if it breaks through these levels, maybe it could push up towards that hourly 200. Okay, that's it for me from that point of view. Let's just run through the news events this morning, and then which there aren't many. In fact, there's really nothing to really speak about. German 30-year bond auction that's tentative this morning at some point. There's new home sales at 2 o'clock this afternoon. May get a little bit of volatility around that, but it's so light you don't even normally notice the results are out. Crude oil inventories may give oil a kicker at 2:30. And that's it really of significance for the markets we trade. 9:45 p.m. this evening, we've got the trade balance, New Zealand trade balance, and maybe a bit of a kicker for the Kiwi at the time. But it looks a quiet day on normal news. Of course, we had the unfortunate news yesterday, and anything that continues through there as we get geopolitical tensions running through the markets, it really can make them quite shaky. So, and the money tends to run more towards the dollar in these days, and we could see some of the same today, and we've already seen that sort of effect on the euro, the pound, as they're selling off quite strongly. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.